Collective, hey, what is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to be with you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to focus on our health, our well-being via the tarot, astrology, any channeled messages, as well as some Ayurvedic or holistic wellness lifestyle habits, things that we can really incorporate into our well-being to find a little bit more grounding and security within self. So with that, let's get into it. I am starting a little bit earlier than what I had posted today. I apologize for the inconvenience, but I forgot that I have somewhere to be and I overbooked myself. Go figure. It seems like that's the nature of my beast. Sorry, I'm just making sure that we're set up, ready to go. All right. Yeah. So, it's interesting. So we're in Gemini season right now. And life has been, it's bringing in a little bit more energy and vitality, more momentum. Things are feeling more hopeful as well, right? Like with that momentum, like the hard work could in fact pay off. And but it's also requiring us to not lose sight of self. As things pick up, as energy moves quicker, we want to make sure that we do have that strong foundation set for self, because it's so easy to get lost in the mix, right? Whether we're overworking or we just have so much on our plate that we don't really have a lot of time to invest in self. That can be the hardest thing, right? Any aspect of our health, mental, emotional, physical, that we are so important on a daily basis, right? Like we need our resources. And when life gets busy, it's hard to cultivate or set apart time for those things. I feel like that's a message that needs to come through in the way that, sorry, I got sidetracked, but I'm just picking up this energy of like, feeling overwhelmed or not giving, or you haven't been able to give yourself enough time, and in a way that feels a little bit counterintuitive to your wants, your needs, and even like what you are growing and building when it comes to your health and well-being. This is definitely that space where we can find balance and harmony within self. And again, like I love wellness, period. Like that's my vibe. But it is amazing how, and Ayurveda has been a huge proponent of showing this. It's amazing how much when we take care of self, it really does maximize our successes, our ability to perform, achieve our wants, our desires. And it doesn't even have to be about achieving this great thing, but it can be as simple as like, manifesting the life we want to live. If we're not healthy and well, if, we want something but think we can't have it, or we don't deserve it, or we have all these toxicities blocking us, etc., it's really hard to make that thing happen. And life is hard enough as it is, right? It's wild, it's crazy. We're working with a million different types of energies, or 8 billion. 8 billion, I should say. And I think it's almost 9 billion at this point, which is wild. But there's just a lot going on, a lot of diversity. And diversity isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when we're looking at consciousness, well-being, it really is about unifying. It's not about fracturing, separating. Yes, there's beauty in that as well, in the diversity, but remembering that, at the base of it, we are all whole. And that's the place that we need to come back to in order to balance, restore self, right? So that's also why I like to start the readings off with an energy cleansing, just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places you might feel blocked or limited. It's a great time to set your own intention as well, especially if you have come in with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like spirit to deliver messages to around. Definitely give that over, be open to receive. It really is a great way to personalize these collective readings. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you are interested in more of that rebalancing of self, alignment of your mind, your body, your soul. I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we are in alignment, like I was talking about, it really is what helps us maximize our potential. And I would love to help support you in that in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so we may see and understand the messages clearly. Help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. All right. So, I mean, I'm feeling like your energy is a little tired, exhausted. It can just tag back to what I was talking about as we've moved into Gemini season, momentum picking up that much more. You do feel a little disconnected from self. I'm not going to lie. Like it has this, and it's not like you have lost connection. It just feels like I'm hearing parched, like you're dry, you're not being able to feed, nourish yourself in the ways that you want to. Again, it can go back to that original channeled message where you just might be upholding a lot of responsibility. Pine tree. Okay. So this makes a lot of sense. Vitality, longevity, perseverance in our overarching energy. I'm hearing this as like the structure that you're building, right? And I love how out of the pine cone, which holds the seeds, the pine trees manifest, right? And so I feel like maybe it's not as much about getting super hard on yourself right now in this time, focusing more on like what you're building and why you're building it. That value of like, it's the not just the foundation. I want to say it's like the structure, right? Like I'm seeing like the wooden frame of a house when they're putting up a house, when they're building a house. Like that's what it reminds me of. That's what you're working on right now, is building something that can be sustainable long term. And especially if you've been in a space where there's been a lot of, whether it's like you're picking and choosing what's best for you, you've had different options come your way. Certain things have stuck, other things haven't stuck. Ayurveda would look at this as like our daily routine. So how we are showing up in the day to day. Finding a little bit more peace, balance, stability. So it's not hitting the extremes. Ayurveda is a huge proponent of balance of activity and rest. And that really is the key to maximum efficiency, minimum effort. It's amazing how small, simple things that we do for ourselves can really promote or cater towards longevity. And that's what I'm seeing you do. Like, it's like, I feel this energy of like, you don't really want to lose what you've built, but sustaining it feels, I don't think it feels difficult or insurmountable, but I do think there's some readjustments that you need to make, that you kind of know you need to make. Perhaps you've just even been allowing yourself a little more time and space to feel balance. The autumn does also signify bounty, like our harvest. And I'm hearing like it's like you passed level 1. Now you're moving on, right? Now you're moving on to the next stages of something that is, like I said, going to be more sustainable for yourself. But it's a process is what I'm hearing. And what I see is it's like, I see a lot of earth energy, number one, in this reading. So tapping into that earth energy, which is, again, not to be redundant, but it is all about grounding, stability, balance, and not balance, sorry, grounding and stability, and like really having a solid foundation. Balance is more Libra energy, but I'm seeing that like we got the altar, so gratitude, releasing burdens. Part of that harvest is about releasing burdens, or maybe you're at a point where like because you've passed the first level, you can finally acknowledge yourself, acknowledge what you have done, what you have overcome, and you don't have to carry the past with you any longer. Nice. I like this though. You're learning how to work with the cycles of life in a more magical way, in a more mystical way, if that's your vibe. If it's not, don't pick it up. Recognizing that when you do have that strong foundation, it actually amplifies your connection with spirit. And in Ayurveda, we would look at this as Brahman or unity consciousness. The idea of enlightenment is that we transcend, that we can actually release the illusion of fracture in life and recognize that everything is unified. It's not even a recognition, it's an innate understanding. It's a state of consciousness that we all have access to. We all have access to. And it actually is, in my opinion, when we are able to access that transcendent, it is the thing that brings us an unshakable foundation, because it inadvertently weeds out the burdens, the stressors, what no longer serves you. And that's the beauty. I mean, that's why I think I love life or Ayurveda or just like in general, because it is all intertwined, not just our physical, it's our mental, it's our emotional, it's our spiritual. It all plays a part, it all plays a role. And when we can feel strong and balanced in self, that's where we're deciding things for ourselves, making choices, making decisions that better honor that alignment versus the woundings, the patterning, the places that we want to be loved. And our blocked energy, unfortunately, sorry, is basil, which symbolizes prosperity, luck, love. It is actually really good if you're into doing a little magic, kitchen magic. You can, not making it woohoo or weird or anything, if that's your vibe. But it is a great way to imbibe things with prosperity, abundance, putting that intention into what you're doing. But it feels like I'm seeing this more as like the fruits of your labor. 4 of Cups comes out, taking good things or certain good things for granted. We'll see what that is. Maybe even not seeing your prosperity is what I'm hearing. Not seeing the abundance, because you do have a lot of abundance in this reading. And again, it might just be because of where you're at in your healing or whatever goals you're trying to accomplish for your wellness. The waning crescent. Yeah, because there are still some things that are fading away. It makes a lot of sense. Maybe there are some things that you still have to sort out for yourself. And you're trying to get comfortable, but I also seeing you try to figure out exactly what that is and what that looks like for you. Like the Page of Swords feels like you're putting yourself out there, you're learning new things, you're talking to other people, getting different perspectives, different vantage points, trying to discover exactly like how you do want to cultivate your longevity. I think you are a little limited right now, though. I feel like you are wanting to play it safe. You're wanting to keep things simple. And that's not necessarily, I got to put that out. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I think there's reason for it because it also looks like whatever has surrounded you, whatever's been in your environment, hasn't really been willing to work with you either, right? Whether that shows up as a person or, you're trying to get certain things off the ground pertaining to your wellness and it's just not happening. And so you've had to divert your energy into other directions. And I think this is a process. Like, I think that this is definitely something, if you believe in crossed over loved ones, our ancestors, our spirit guides, it is something that they are leading you through, to and through. There's a lot of transformation happening right now. And that's where like a slow, steady process really works in your favor. Being grateful for each and every moment that you do experience, learning, seeing, learning, and integrating the lessons, and knowing that you are protected. Like, I don't think you have to self-protect as much as what you feel like you do. And again, that could just be as basic as I don't have enough time and energy for myself. And so how can I give to others, or how can I put myself out there if I'm not even feeling good in self? But sometimes we just got to do it. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not as bad as what we think, or, we're facing insecurities or whatever it may be that's trying to veer us in a different direction. It's also what's kind of blocking this abundance, right? It's also the thing that's keeping you from tapping into some things that I think are really beautiful and beneficial for you. And this can be for a myriad of reasons. We get comfortable. We get comfortable with, especially when we're able to successfully cultivate a safe space that no one can infiltrate. It can be really hard to put yourself back out there again, or whatever, right? Or maybe you're trying to lose weight and you just haven't lost enough, and so it feels, unnerving to kind of meet new people or whatever while you're in that in between. But it's not so much about accumulating like that goal, like, oh, well, I got to make new friends, and so these are the friends that are going to be with me forever. Like, maybe you do go out, maybe you do make some friends, maybe it's fun for a hot minute, and then they kind of fade away, but they also end up leading you to people who are more your community, are more your vibe, that type of thing. It doesn't have to be that specific example. I'm just using it to kind of communicate the energy that I'm picking up. And it looks like, and so I'm saying that because, well, yeah. And I think that's hard. I think that mentality is a little bit hard. You might be focusing more on perfectionism at this point, like doing things perfectly versus casting your net wide and seeing what comes through. I feel like you do want to be really intentional. I feel like that's kind of the underlying theme. And it does look like there are some things in the background that haven't really sorted themselves out quite yet. That maybe is a direct weight, kind of holding you back, holding you down. But again, I would encourage you or challenge you to say, like, how much of that is true? Maybe you still have to deal with this energy back here. It doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon, if I'm honest. It could be a person situation, but it can also be as simple as a mentality, what you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, the patterns. Like, I'm not picking up toxic patterns, but just like, excuse me, like habits that we get into that end up becoming toxic for ourselves is what I see more. Where it's like just waiting, self-protection. There's a lot of earth energy on the board today, which is good. It feels like slow and stable and methodical. And I think that's something you need. I would just even encourage you this week to try to take that stance in whatever you do. Like, you don't have to move so quickly. You don't have to have everything done by tomorrow. You can actually enjoy life, enjoy the blessings that you've been given. Know that, like, Spirit does have your back, even if you do let go of the reins for a hot minute. I don't think it's going to be a forever thing, right? Let's see. Let's clarify what this 10 of Swords is. The cycle's ending. It is closing out. It also is it's wisdom gained after struggle, but it's also when patterns don't stop. Like 10 of Swords is a little bit of a make or break energy, right? You're either going to like learn from your experience, or you're going to loop yourself back into that karma, that cycle. And it looks like there is something surrounding you that is trying to get you to re-engage. And it might come wrapped in a very pretty bow, right? That's why intuition becomes so important. That's why the way that you're setting yourself up this week, the way you're taking care of yourself this week is important. Making sure that you have a good, strong routine in place, going to bed on time, waking up on time, eating, good, nourishing food. It doesn't have to be crazy. I mean, Ayurveda has a very different perspective of what healthy is versus like Western world. And the interesting thing about Ayurveda is the Ayurvedic diet is way more honoring and nourishing to the physiology versus like smoothies and salads and things that actually end up stressing the body out that much more. Food for thought, side note. But like I said, it does kind of look like something is coming in. Something wants readjustment. Something wants a little bit more time, a little more energy, a little more space. They want you to give your attention to this thing. But it does feel a little bit shady with this 7 of Swords, 9 of Pentacles. Someone, something not being completely honest about what they are selling. I think you are continuing to be very self-protective around your energy. So even if you do have things coming in that are like not necessarily challenging it, but I feel like you have some options on the table. Like you can make this choice or you can make this choice, and they're both going to lead to very different destinations. And I think some of the choices that you have in front of you are enticing. Also, things that you might need to think through, and you already feel that within self. I'm picking up that energy. Like you're still uncertain, you're still on the fence, especially with this 10 of Swords energy. It's the fear that if you give something your time and energy, it's going to go right back into that space that you've been working so hard to get out of. But again, I see a lot of awareness. I see a lot of wisdom. I see a lot of protection. I see that you're taking your time, or that life is forcing you to take your time to slow down. Really, even in the astrology right now, and I haven't touched too much on this, but in the astrology right now, it's not good to force the agenda. If anything, it's going to get us bad results, and we're going to end up putting ourselves in positions we don't want to be in. Unless you're very like clear about a decision. But this is more that value of when there's uncertainty, when there's some illusion. I was picking that up as well. And I think I was saying that, was that in the very beginning of this? I'm not sure, but Mercury is tensely aspected to Neptune right now. So it can bring up some messy communication, but it can also be like people saying things that aren't really true, right? Communicating that illusion or trying to present a certain illusionary front. And even though, like I said, like this is an energy that you don't have to subject yourself to. If anything, there's other options waiting for you that I think, even if it's not the final thing, it's going to serve you really well. Just shaking up the energy. Sometimes we get so tunnel visioned in these types of dynamics, or we disempower ourselves by letting someone, like we keep the door cracked open and then they keep pushing the foot and pushing in until they're all the way back in our life, right? And that can be a person, a habit, something that's unhealthy for us that happens, usually that's how those things happen, right? Is we're not really paying attention and they just inch their way in. And then before you know it, it's appeared. And it does look like something is appearing, something is popping up more towards the end of next week. But it has this value of like you needing to pay attention to self. I know that a simple shift in my perspective can change my reality. I'm choosing joy. I love that. I think that's so true. My son and I, we really try to practice that in our life, especially like when we're getting distracted by negative forces, whatever that may be, negative people, negative interactions, whatever. We've been really just like, I know it's kind of funny because he's my baby boy, but like it's a challenge that we do for each other, right? To help kind of lift out of that space of negativity, because negativity is not getting you anywhere, right? If anything, like we can address the problems at hand, which it looks like that's what you're doing, and then make positive choices out of it. I know that exploring my passions will lead to my purpose. I am doing what feels good. I think that's so true for you too this week. Give yourself the opportunity to have a little fun. Was that like I'm hearing like don't be so serious, not everything has to be so structured and rigid. Earth energy can definitely have that component to it. It can be like very stubborn and inflexible. And it's good when we're setting that foundation or building the scaffolding, right? But then it can be very counterintuitive when we need to be free and flexible, when we need to be able to, trust our gut, trust our intuition. Earth energy is very much about the practical, right? Like what's in front of me, that's what I'll trust. Where the moon, our intuition, connecting with that third eye, crown chakra, it's a totally different process. It's a heart opening process. It requires us to be open and flexible and not shut down, right? Not shut down or not only believe in what's in front of our face, right? So we'll close it out with a few oracles. I am worthy. I know that I deserve wonderful things. Say it again. I know that I deserve wonderful things. I am worthy. I love these cards. They're just so powerful. They're simple but powerful reminders of what you do deserve, right? You are worthy. You are worthy of what you want. And it looks like you have all the ingredients in place. All you got to do is mix it together and actually like make the recipe, right? And I feel like that's when you're going to be way happier. Some of the limitation is because of whatever this is in the background, and you don't have to give it as much power anymore. I do see you working to kind of separate, distance yourself to whatever capacity that is, but it might have taken a long time, I know that each step I take towards my dreams creates momentum for the next. I am moving forward. This is so beautiful. And it's such a great energy for Gemini, right? And even kind of like how I was talking about, like, even if you are feeling like you have to self protect, you really don't. You don't have to self protect as much as maybe what you think. Like, you're more ready now. And even if you aren't in your perfect space, in your ideal, vision of what you have for yourself, again, I think you're going to be surprised. And that's what I'm hearing. It's like, it's allowing yourself to move forward. It's allowing yourself to know that you are worthy. Okay. I know that I will sometimes feel heavy and disappointed. I'm allowed to have bad days, 100%, right? And that's actually where that earth energy really supports us, is that it doesn't have to be go, do, make happen, etc. Especially if you have been really focused on certain things and then you backtrack a little bit in your wellness routine, whatever that looks like, right? You've been working out and now you can't do it for a week or whatever. Like, that's okay too, And maybe we can challenge ourselves and try to find different avenues. Maybe you can't like go to the gym, but you can still take a walk outside, or do some calisthenics in the house, or whatever that is for you. meal prep, right? If you're trying to change up your eating habits, maybe don't buy certain things that, are downfalls for you, right? Like goodies, treats, whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to heal and grow. It's also okay to have the days that we misstep or that, we're a little off track, just as long as we're aware. And I see that you are being aware. I see that you are working really hard to maintain that stability and balance. And I think it's going to help, or it's going to allow you to surrender a little bit more in the way that you don't have to be so on top of everything. And I think that that's what this is about, right? Maybe you're putting a lot of stock into how much you do, into what the results are, what it's looking like at the end of the day. And if anything, it's like, it doesn't matter where you are, you're worthy right in this moment in time, even if it doesn't feel that way, right? Everybody has credits and deficits. And like just realizing that, like, no one's perfect, no one. Sometimes we put people on pedestals or we think they have it more together than we do. Most often not, unless, I know that there's caveats to that, but just with that idea in mind. All right. This is the messages I have for you today. Thank you so much for your time, energy always. I super appreciate you. I hope that you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I'd love to hear and just say, hey, share in a little love, a little TLC. I hope you have a really good week. I hope that you honor, support, nurture yourself, find ways to really connect with your intuition, surrendering a little bit more, that you don't have to be so on top of everything, that like there is such a thing as energy, right? And spirit does work for our benefit. Our mind, our body, our soul is always working towards that harmony and balance of optimal functioning. I mean, that's so powerful, right? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I will be live tomorrow night for our weekly forecast. And until then, I will see you soon. Lots of love, lots of blessings your way. Have a great one. Thanks for tuning in always.